Well, thank you, Madam Chair. So let's just say the quiet part out loud. This rescissions package is based on a scam, a con job, a grift. DOGE was never about good governance. It was never about efficiency. It was about giving Trump's ex-best friend, Elon Musk, a taxpayer-funded slush fund. He and Elon might be on the rocks, but this has always been about one thing and one thing only: rewarding Trump's donors. This bill is a perfect example of why people hate Washington. We hear all these promises about cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, and then you open up the hood and you look at what this bill is cutting. And it's not waste or fraud or abuse. It's cutting essential services that people rely on, cutting programs that save lives. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this stuff out. The USDA had to rehire all the bird flu experts after DOGE fired them in the middle of the bird flu. The Department of Energy had to undo its own cuts after DOGE sent termination notices to the people who secure America's nuclear warheads. The National Weather Service is rehiring people after DOGE went in and gutted that agency. Now we hear we might not have enough meteorologists on hand to warn people of tornadoes and other severe storms. DOGE was a disaster, and we all know it. And now we're going to start to codifying their absurd, stupid cuts into law, starting with USAID and public broadcasting. Really? This is insane. And look at what the Republicans are not cutting. Look at what they won't dare to touch. These guys say we need to tighten our belts, and I'm all for it. But where is the rescissions package for the Pentagon? What about going after the defense contractors that charge us $10,000 for a toilet seat cover? The Pentagon has never passed an audit, never. They spend nearly $1 trillion a year, and instead of looking at the agency that spends $10,000 on a toilet, Republicans want to go after Sesame Street. I mean, what the hell is wrong with this place? Let's get our fiscal house in order. Democrats are on board. Let's claw back the billions in wasteful big oil subsidies. Let's look into ending massive tax loopholes and giveaways Republicans continue handing out to millionaires and billionaires. But please, please, let's not pretend this bill is about saving money when these cuts represent a tiny, tiny, tiny sliver of savings compared to the federal budget. Let's not pretend like what we're doing here today is anything other than a corrupt con job designed to make people think Republicans are saving money so they can justify their tax cuts for billionaires. You guys are going after UNICEF and Sesame Street instead of going after the billionaires and big banks that pay zero in taxes. This is insane. You're gutting PEPFAR, an overwhelmingly bipartisan program created by President George W. Bush to combat the global HIV crisis. Cutting this program by $400 million is going to kill people, full stop. Follow the money, America. Look at who the Republicans refuse to go toe-to-toe with. It's the people who write them the big, fat campaign checks, the billionaires, the big oil lobbyists. And at a time when authoritarian powers are challenging us on every continent, when the world is practically begging for us to lead, this package says, sorry, we can't fund diplomacy. We can't support global public health. We can't try to prevent war and conflict. We can't save lives because it might offend some billionaire who came up with these ideas while he was high on ketamine. This is literally nuts. America knows it, and Republicans know it. What's disgraceful is so many of them are willing to go along to get along. America is better than this. We ought to lead with strength, not stupidity. Let's look for smart ways to cut government funding. Let's come together and find strategic ways to reduce spending, to cut back on waste, to go after fraud. But let's not pretend that that's what this bill does. This is a scam, it's a con job, and I urge my colleagues to vote no on this insane, disgraceful DOGE disaster, and I yield back my time.